Gundam.tk presents Master Grade Marasai. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs, Gundam Reviews.net. And the Akai head, he lights up, as does this mobile suit if you want to go out and buy yourself an extra light. But anyway, you've seen the unboxing the parts, and it's time to now put this bad guy and bad boy together. And I'm not going to call this all put together, but when he's mostly put together, you can see the Zeonic influences all over the place, with the Zaku-esque upper body there, big skirts and the dome-type legs, but remember... But now I can say he's all put together, and this is exactly the way you'd expect a Master Grade Marasai to look. I think they absolutely nailed the proportions, the colors, the styling about that. I've got the mono eye lit up here just because you might as well. But anyway, it's just fantastic the way the upper body fills out with that shoulder part on, the big shield on the back. The backpack, the green is going to look great the way it looks like it's connected to the waist, even though it's not really. And the overside back of the head is just going to draw more attention to the backpack and the coolness that's going on back there. And those legs are no longer oversized. I'd say everything about this kit is perfect in terms of looks. And for me, who's always buying Master Grade good guys, I used to be really big on Mono Eye bad guys from the 1 Year War, back in First Gundam and HGUC, and I've got all those, and they're tons of fun to put together. But I never went that direction with 1/100 Master Grades, and yet I can see the appeal instantly of having a shelf full of Zaku Domes and Rick Diases and the like. So despite this being its first time in 1/100th form as a Master Grade, you'd expect good articulation. You can see that the legs are going to come forward for kicks there, the knees are going to bend, and you're going to have that armor go down, and it's going to look good no matter what you do with it. The ankles themselves are going to roll really well forward and back. You can see that this part here can get out of the way, and you can have the toes come down, so you can have some cool looking dome type of jumping thing there. And off to the side, you can also pop those skirts up and have him do the full splits if you want. With the upper body, there's just more to deal with, but you can only turn the waist around that much, but you can see that it can rock off to the side, which is probably not going to be a bad thing because you don't have too much extra weight from this shield over here. You can see that this part is going to have a little bit of a gap there, depending on just how well you seal it up when you're putting in the light or whatever. But for the arm, this is going to spin around there, not hit the backpack. This part here is going to move independently. You can see that it's going to move up and down, but you're not going to have too much range of motion. But certainly good enough, just don't expect it to come forward and back. The arm is going to rotate around, you're going to get over a 135, I'd say. And something I didn't point out when I was looking at the parts was just how awesome it is that you've got these 4 arm guards here, and they give you these 3 tiny little pieces for each one, which are just going to really help bring this guy to life in terms of the armor. A little bit of a shame that you're going to have these green parts that don't come all the way forward. There's a little bit too much of a gap, and I love the red parts here on the side of the helmet. But over here for the shoulder, you can see that you're going to have this shield is going to be able to move up and down. You could bring it all the way up like that, and you could close it all the way down and bring it all the way up if for whatever reason he was to say, please go ahead and take my beam sabers and chop me up. Comparison time now, and here he is next to one of the newer Master Grades. It's the Master Grade Dual Assault Shroud, and even with the Assault Shroud armor on, you can see that the Marasai is just going to have a whole bunch more bulk, even though it is going to be quite simplified and very 80s style compared to the newer 2000 kind of design over here on the right. And even though he is tall and filled out, even against the Banshee, the shield is going to help him win the height contest there, but if you had the Banshee standing up straight, you know that he would certainly be a lot bigger, and his arms are certainly going to help keep him filled out in terms of comparison. And on the silly side, here he is next to his Universal Century counterpart, the F90. This is the fully equipped type here, Type 80S, and you can see that he's going to be a lot smaller, even though he is technically better technology, I suppose. And though this is a gauging builder, it's still 1/100th here for the H3, so it'll give you an idea that with his legs straightened up, he'd be quite a bit taller, it looks like. But I just wanted to show you these guys because of their very cool Double Zeta-esque shoulders. Although I suppose Double Zeta was probably copying the Marasai. And finally, here he is just for a color comparison next to the Genuous. You can see that he's going to be a little bit different here in tone with both his pink or salmon color there And of course, how much better would he look next to the Master Grade Mark II of version 2.0 as opposed to the, however, just really cool real grade over there on the left. For posing, it's too bad that things are kicking off with a blah, as you may notice that even though the rest of the body is going to look cool no matter which way you move those legs, just the way they design that armor is just going to look fantastic no matter what. The head is going to turn with no difficulties, the shoulders and the shield you can get everywhere, but the fact that you've got these great manipulators and they just have all sorts of abilities and they're a little bit oversized, you'd think with a small beam rifle it would have the pegs to keep them in place, but instead, without the thumb to hold it there, and it's not going to do a very good job of it, it's just going to collapse, as you see here. And the general laxness of the attachment point is going to have one bonus of if you do want to have it held in two hands. I've just got one hand is just the trigger finger variation in there, and one of them's just the holder hand. That the fact that it's loose is actually going to help it, and it's not going to collapse when you've got it held there with two. That shield is going to look cool no matter what you do with it, or so it seems. A little bit unfortunate, but somewhat to be expected that you're not going to be able to have the left arm come all the way over to grab the beam saber handle out of there. But the yellow beams are going to look great, and if you've got the beam rifle up in the air there, you can see that that's going to mitigate the fact that it just doesn't have the ability to grip it very well. And no matter what angle you look at it from, that oversized ridiculous head on the back and his neck part is just awesome. And this was the pose that's on the side of the box that really made me want to buy this. It's just awesome because I've already talked about the shield over here being able to move around, but you've got this shoulder. It's going to work especially well when it comes forward, but you can have them looking very cool with the downstroke there with the beam sabers. The feet on the side of the box, they seem to show this one being a lot flatter than it seems to want to go. But outside of the fact that the beam rifle is just going to just cause all sorts of problems, so it's better to get it out of there. This pose right here for a master grade of an old school mid-80s kit, I have to say is something that you would not have been able to do with an old school 1/100th, and something that you'd have to wait for a master grade, never mind all those cool details in the piping and that mono eye and the cool looking head. And the round forming joint here, you can see that you can just open these up, plug these in on either side and close those up. You'll just have to be careful to get them at the right angle here. But you can see that it's going to provide a solid grip there, though you wonder if the waist is going to stay in place in terms of the bottom of the backpack here. But remember, you can slide this into position, which means, outside of the fact that you're really going to have to strengthen up this action base one because he's already gone toppling over, as you can guess. And there he is, up on the base, with the legs and a ridiculous, it sort of works when you're entering the atmosphere. Two hands on the gun, mono eye looking straight at Camille as he sends him one last shot. And that is certainly one of the more unique things that you'd ever put on your shelf next to everybody else. Although if you look at him straight on, he's just going to look like a little bit of a blob. But if you position him straight on here, and you've got the patience to just really put the screws into this thing here, it's going to work out, and he is going to look pretty cool up in the air. No matter what you do with those legs and the thrusters and the mono eye and the shield and the shoulders, it's all gonna work out well. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of the mobile suit mode? Love to hear from you with a comment down below, and stay tuned. I'll have my final list of all the good and bad things that I could pick out during the course of this review in my verdict, and in the meantime, love to hear from you, and we'll see you next part. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. And first grade Exia says to that, "Pfft, that's easy. Who needs a special ring mount?"